Good morning, folks. Welcome to our Sweet Home Life channel. This video is going to be about learning, about seeing our fails, learning from our fails. We're going to share them, and we do like to share our fails as well as our successes. And we both can learn and grow from this experience. And I know you'll learn something. We'll have something all through our videos, and you'll be able to learn too. So let's go take a look at things around the yard. So here is my hoop house. I've had it here for about 5 years now. I've been retired off my real job for about 5 years. And I had bought up a lot of these PVC pipes, and they're like a hot water pipe. And I got a bundle of them for like 10 cents a stick. And so I still got some of these left. And anyway, I built this little hoop house. I got the idea off of YouTube from a guy on there who built a little hoop house like this. And mine is similar to his. And I think it would have really been a good one, and it probably still will be a good deal if you wanted to build one. And I was chomping at the bit to get some seeds going and started and get them in my garden and get them in the ground like everybody is this time of the year. It's warming up, we're getting ready to go. Everybody wants to get those seeds in the ground. We want some fresh vegetables. Everybody's like this. And anyway, so I got the idea. I said I need some shade cloth. Well, the kids have got a big 14-foot trampoline down there, which they never use. And I never put up the safety net. I thought, I know what I could do with that safety net. So I got that safety net, and it goes just perfectly around this thing. This is 12 by 12. And if you'll notice, it was like it was not tall enough, so I seamed this seam together on there. And that seam goes across it, and it's perfect. Does a perfectly good job for that, and it helps keep out the critters. And that's what I used for it. And I still never have gotten my roll-up sides fixed, but I got everything in place for it. And I fixed these ends. I fixed these ends around here, and I boxed in a place to put a fan for ventilation, which I don't feel like I need it. And all this is just regular plastic. I think it's a 6 mil plastic on there. And as you can see, this old, for about 5 years time, I think now, it's held up really well. Maybe 6 years. I think it is 6 years now. But it's held up well. But yeah, I think I probably went over about a year on this top. The most expensive thing I have in this thing, this sheeting was about 80 bucks to do this. It was about, it was 12 feet, but I think it was about 25 feet. So that costed me $60 or $70 because it was a special greenhouse sheeting. And you want that too. You don't want just regular plastic. And here's what's going on with the plastic. So the plastic's gone, as you can see. I patched around to keep out some cold air. And unfortunately, this is probably one of the fails. It didn't do a very good job this year, but we had a tremendous, for Alabama, it was a very cold winter. Really short, I guess you might say, but it was cold, and it let in some of the cold air. See, as you see, usually the problem really on these bowls is it starts deteriorating along that contact surface. So if you want to build you one of these, make sure that you put something in between the bowls and the plastic to keep that from deteriorating. Another thing is, if you'll look up in between those bowls, you'll see pine trees. I should have cleared out these pine trees or put this thing in a more clearer place. But I had some good ideas. As you can see, these workbenches, I think, were a real good idea here. See, I put netting that, I forget what it's called. It's like a 1/2 inch square heavy duty netting, and it's worked well. I don't think it would hold a tremendous amount of weight, but it would probably do what you need for it to do. And I did one better than anything I've ever seen. I put me an old worn out deep freeze in here. I said, well, at least I can put my dirt in there, my potting mixtures and all that other stuff. It did take up a lot of space in the end that I don't have to work with. But anyway, moving right along, I put these plants out here to winter over, and I've got some rosemary here. I've got some herbs and some, I think that's flat leaf parsley, some mint, and we really like mint here in the South, and it's doing fairly well. And there's some mint that didn't, it bit back some, but I think it's going to do fine. But there's some more, I don't know what that is. That may be, it's not basil, so because I got some basil down here somewhere. But that basil will come back. I forget what that is. That may be a flat leaf parsley also. I think I had some lemon parsley or something like that. But there's some more basil plants up there. And anyway, I've got a couple of house plants here. There's some airplane plants down in there. And here's some plants I got, and I don't know what these are, but they look like they're still living at the roots, even though the foliage is dead. See there, that's still living. I think that'll come back. But most of these house plants got bit back, and I do wish I'd have changed this last year. There's I forget what that stuff's called. It's that stuff that smells real good, and you know what it is. It's the purple stuff, jasmine, I think it is. And there is some more plants I started early in the spring. But anyway, I've got little potting containers with soil in them, and as you can see, it's a pretty good mess in here. But I was wanting to tell you too, I wanted you to see everything I had. I like to remodel, recycle and reuse and repurpose. I use these for potting up my plants. That's about, what is that? I don't know. That's about a 32-ounce drink. And I like to do that because those will deteriorate. But here's the toilet paper rolls. Now, these are thick. They don't really break down like they should. I have tried plants in there, but they just don't do very well in there. Even though they'll grow out of the bottom of that thing, it doesn't hardly deteriorate. But if you can find some stuff in there that will deteriorate through the year, that will help you. And I always try to save this plastic. I hate to turn plastic out in the landfill. I try to reuse. There's an old cake plate we had. I'll put something in there and I'll cover it over, and I'll try to start some seeds in there. If I can't start them covered up, I'll just use that. Or you can cut the top out of this and use it for a drip pan, a pan for your plants. Anyway, I've got that, and that's pretty good. And let me see if I can find something else I've done to repurpose things in here. But like I say, most everything here I had reused or gotten somewhere. There's another thing on these clamps. See these clamps? Those are actually PVCs cut down. I didn't go buy any of those PVC clamps that they have. That's kind of wasting materials or wasting money and everything else. So yeah, that's my little hoop house. It is a fail, but I don't think it's a fail. I'll just have to do some work on it and kind of rejuvenate it. But I'll get several more years out of that thing. It's okay. I just haven't really spent the time on it that I need to spend. But yeah, I think as far as a fail, when we moved in here, everybody wanted to cut down all of my trees. And I told the builder, I said, no, you're not going to cut down all these trees. I'll be sitting in the middle of a 10-acre field in the broad summer heat in Alabama, and I can't take that. I got to have a tree. So here's the pines. And those who are thinking about raising pine trees for money, you pretty well much are better off if it's just about the money in a small piece of land like this. Well, I think you're better off to cut, if you're going to put something down there, cut those trees down. Because for number one, it will cost me as much money to get these stumps cleared out as it would for what little bit of money I get out of these pine trees. I mean, they've did okay, but we've been here about 25 years. They were up here when we moved in, so I said, we'll let those things grow. Well, we did, but anyway, nevertheless, looking back on it, I wish I'd had them cut. So I could at least develop this land and used it like our neighbors did over there into pasture land. And that's another thing too. I wish I'd have spent the money and fenced this place in, built a nice barn, and put me some cows or some cattle or something on here to at least eat the grass down. I had to cut all this property down and try to keep it clean. And man, you talk about a job. I went through almost 2 tractors trying to keep this stuff clean. So anyway, we'll talk about something. I'll talk about something else over here. Let me see. Glenda, you might want to run this camera while I'm here.
Look at this. This tree's got little blooms.
You know what this is? This is a wild plum. Yeah, look at that. These plums, I remember as a child, we used to go out on the highways and byways and pick these plums. Nothing but good, Mama. Nothing but good. That was summer. That was our summer when we saw the plum trees moving in.
The wild magnolia.
That's a wild magnolia. Those grow out in the wild down here. And we don't always get them at the nursery, but really most people have the shrubs and everything they have in their yard are from the nursery. So they don't grow wild, but some things do down here, and we do take it for granted. But I think we live in one of the most beautiful parts of the U.S. here. I've been out west, we've traveled all over, and I still like to come home. I remember telling Glenda when I worked, she said, I don't like home, I like to go somewhere all the time. I said, Glenda, I haven't seen my house in the daytime in 46 years. I said, I'd like to stay home for a little while. And here's our little Coachman we bought. We take it out every chance we get. And you know how it's been lately. It's not always a good chance here these days to take it out. But the little Coachman, it's what is this, Glenda? A 19-footer. We love it so far. If I had the keys, I'd bring you in, but we'll do a little video on this here before long. But it's a little Apex Nano. We've had it for about 3 years, 2 or 3 years. I think we're going into the 3rd season. It's made by Coachman. But anyway, we love it. We like to go. We've always camped. And I'm sure we'll be wearing it out this summer. Don't you, Glenda? But yeah, that's it. And we got kayaks too. They're ready to go too. Glenda loves to kayak. I'm afraid of that cold water myself. But anyway, just a little view around the place. I know it's chunky, but like I say, it's kind of a work in progress. All this stuff this summer looks so pretty over here with all these trees. And we love them for shade. We don't necessarily need them in the winter time. It's the summertime when we need everything. But yeah, I have it looking so nice in the summer around here. But it's got to get out here and trim my crepe myrtles. That's another thing too. Crepe myrtles, got to get those trimmed within the week or so. You don't want to let those go very long. And so with our rose bushes need to be trimmed by the 1st of March. Crepe myrtles, the middle of February. Here's your azaleas. These azaleas were so pretty. And then they just got so big. Glenn said, I need you to cut those things a little bit. So I cut them all down 2 years ago. I think it was in the fall of the year. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but I cut them down within a foot of the ground, and this was like 1 year's worth of growth here. I mean, it's popping back like it never has been hit. And there's our cannons. We just planted those around the base of the house. And there's the other azaleas. And these will be blooming too early spring. We love those azaleas. And rose bushes, I don't know if I told you that or not, but they also need to be cut and pruned back real low towards, if Glenda was around here, I'd get her to help me remember the dates on those. But those need, I think, the 1st of March. Those need to be pruned back. But anyway, and these are creeping junipers. So I planted azaleas all up and down here, the azaleas. And, no, I beg your pardon, not azaleas, crepe myrtles. So you can see the crepe myrtles on the other side of the drive there. But these creeping junipers, these things grow so prolifically that you have to stay after those too. I have to prune these things at least once a year. But they're so aggressive, you can see how they've almost choked everything out. This little crepe myrtle here, they're growing, but they're not proliferating out here. But anyway, so I think that's about it right now. There's a lot of stuff I need to show you. I haven't shown you yet. Well, and there's another fail there. I will tell you about this fail. That is a Bradford pear. That is one of the worst things you can ever plant in landscape. And you're going to say, well, why is that? The reason that is because when those things start getting that big, they start splitting. Those things will split right at the base, and they'll just fall down right where they are. Those are big enough that I've got to take some of those outward limbs down because they pull down on those big limbs toward the middle and they'll split. And those are prolific about spreading. Well, the deal is with these is they spread on down into your pastures, and if you've got a tractor, they make thorns about that long, and they get hard, and you can't keep any air in your tires because they come through there and puncture your tires. I've got 2 flats on this old tractor over here, and that's primarily the reason I quit driving it. Couldn't keep any tires on it. So that's another reason my fields have grown up. But anyway, there's some fails. You know, I don't mind telling you the fails. I want you to know you don't have to go through those same mistakes that I've done. I learned from my mistakes. I don't do that again. I tell people I would never plant another Bradford pear. They're beautiful, but they're also a lot of trouble. Well,